Hello and welcome. My name is Jim Biggins. I'm with 94.5 The Moose, and on behalf of the whole Alpha Media family radio stations here, including our sister stations, WSGW, AM, and FM, 106.3 The Core, WGER, and our friends across the hall there at KISS 107.1. I welcome you because today we got a fun summer event going into its fifth year, bigger than ever, always new things being added, and a ton of fun if you've never done it. It's the fifth annual Grit Your Grief 5K. There's a run, there's a walk, there's a whole bunch more. Let's go ahead and bring Chris Sabrin in and James from the airport, and let's get the rundown on the whole event. First of all, let me introduce Chris. Chris is the Children's Grief Center executive director here in the Great Lakes Bay region, and so we'll be talking a little bit about what your organization does as well, obviously. James Canders is the airport director, and we pulled him away from the 57 other projects that are going on at the airport right now, it seems like. Very active time and so many good things going on. But let's start with you, Chris. 5 years in, your grief. And how about a quick rundown of the whole event? What's all going to happen and what can you do if you come?
Great. Yeah, so it's this Saturday, May 17th. We have a 5K run walk, and the special part about that is that it happens on the taxiways and on the runways of MBS International Airport. Big shout out to James and for all the work that he's done to get FAA, TSA clearance and lots of other pieces in place. There's also a color run, a family color run. Now that can't happen on the runways. It happens on the property, but not in the secure space. And we have a kids zone, we have bounce houses, we have Tittabawassee Township first responders will be there, show the kids their equipment, talk to them, and so on. We have my soda bus will be there as well, serving some sodas. But like you said in the intro, the big thing that we've added this year is a pancake, a breakfast, and lunch part of the event. This was inspired, by James had this idea because, like you mentioned before, we keep adding things because we can't really change the course too much. I mean, it is what it is because you got to keep the airport functional, you got to keep it running, so we can't shut everything down. So we try and add something new. Well, this particular pancake piece, we worked with Chris's Cakes out of Clare, and they've served governors, they've served presidents, they have Guinness Book of World Records for the most pancakes served in an hour. And I believe the tallest or the farthest thrown, because that's how it works. You don't just get your pancakes served to you, you have to catch them off the griddle. And so they throw them at you, and you have to catch them, Jim. You have to catch them.
All right, I'm in on that.
$10 a ticket. You show up. It's all you can eat. I guess all you can catch first and then go ahead and eat. But there's also sausage served. There's tang. There's coffee available. But we pitched it as a fly-in. So we're hoping that local pilots in the area and actually among the region, the Midwest, may fly in for this event. But you don't need an airplane. If you don't have one of those, you can literally drive and you can still come and enjoy the pancakes. And for a $10 spectator pass, you can also participate in the bounce houses and the kids zone and so on. So that's our event. We're pushing 429 registrations right now. So we're expecting that many people to participate in the run and the color run. We do take on-site registrations that day. Registration opens at 8 a.m. goes until 10 for the run walk, and we'll be open until 11:30 for the color run should anybody want to come on that particular day.
Now, what if you say your kids or your grandkids are running, but you're a little out of shape? But you'd like to be there to support them. Can you do that?
You can absolutely do that. And we have a space in the secure area for spectators. That $10 spectator pass I told you about will get you into that space too, in addition to the tie-dye and the kids zone, to the bounce houses and so on. But absolutely, you can come and if the kids just want to do the color run, they can do that too for $20, and you can stand outside and watch them get soaked in color powder.
No, as a parent, you should be in there getting soaked in color too.
Agreed. I think absolutely, yeah.
Grandparents might be off the hook, but parents, you should be in there.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll get to more about the Children's Grief Center itself in a moment. But James, what do you have to do? Because it sounds like you've got like all the alphabet letters of the government agencies that you got to get on your side here. What do you have to do?
Well, I usually will plan this out at least 6 months in advance and putting in notifications to the FAA and TSA and a lot of back and forth conversation every 3, 4 weeks, trying to get things finalized. But luckily, this is the third year we've had it out at the airport, and we have a much better sense of what's going on. So it's really quite simple. I drove the area this morning and explaining to our staff what needs to be done and what we have to do to set up. And Chris was out here last night doing something similar. So we're just I got most of it down. It's just making sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dots with the regulatory agencies.
Well, it's a good thing because as the crowd continues to get bigger, you got to make sure everything is lined up and ready to go. Chris, the money that is raised from this, the Children's Grief Center, can you explain what the Grief Center, what is the purpose behind it, and how is this event gonna help out the Grief Center?
Absolutely. So we are a nonprofit organization that provides a healing environment for children, teens, and their families that are grieving a death of a person in their lives. So, some of the kids that attend our program, they have had both their parents die, they have had siblings die, they've had grandparents or even close friends and acquaintances. So what we do is we provide programming in two ways. We provide evening peer support groups, actually at 3 sites in Midland, Bay, and Saginaw counties. We also go into schools during the day and provide a mini version of what we do in our evening peer support groups during the day in schools that'll have us in. We've been doing this for 10 years now. I'm happy to say this is our 10-year anniversary of the organization. But these dollars that we raise in this event are extremely important. I'm in my 3rd year as the executive director at the Children's Grief Center. When I first started, we had 100 kids on our rosters across our 3 sites. We're now pushing 160, 170 kids in each of those sites, and they're starting to get pretty big that we are trying to figure out how to accommodate the need. But what's really expanded is our school program. When I first started, we were in about 5-7 schools, and now we've leaped to 55 schools across 13 counties that are asking for help.
Just in the last 3 years.
Just in the last 3 years. And I'm happy to say that our story is being told, people know about us, but our costs have doubled and a little more than doubled. We have 5 employees that are here. 2 full-time therapists are part of that, and they're valuable people, and they're on the road a lot, and there's a lot to running an organization such as this. So every dollar that's raised for this fundraising event is really important. I do want to mention, Jim, that at this time we provide all of these services at no cost to our families who come and to the schools who ask for our assistance. We fund the agency through fundraising, sponsorships, amazing donors, and some other grants that I try and search out as well. So every dollar that comes in goes to our program to serve grieving children and their families.
I have to ask too, and I guess I'm guessing there's a difference. I mean, as adults grieving the loss of a loved one, family member, whatever it may be, you never get better at it. But what are the challenges for kids who have to deal with this, who aren't, as emotionally developed as their parents might be?
I think my experience prior to becoming the executive director here was in teaching. So I spent almost 30 years in education and school administration. And, kids, they've got a lot to do growing up, right? They got to figure a lot of things out. And so they go to school and they go into classrooms where there may not be anybody else around them who has experienced a death before. And so there's a lot of feelings of loneliness. There's a lot of feelings of, I don't really know what to do. I don't know how to manage this. Because like you said, they don't have, the age experience that an adult does. So when we get an opportunity to bring them together with other kids that have had loss in their life or they've experienced death and they share their stories, the magic really happens when they realize they're not alone. That's the biggest thing we can do for them. And I think that's really the power of our organization, is bringing those kids together. They can share their stories. They know they're not alone. And we've seen emotional improvement. We've seen academic improvement in the children that come to our programs. We've gotten that feedback from both schools and families. So I think, with children just trying to figure out life and build those experiences. That's one of the biggest challenges, because adults have a lot of life experience behind them that the kids don't.
I find it interesting that, as a parent myself, I don't know if the two of you are parents, but, you worry sometimes about peer pressure leading to bad decisions. And it turns out the other side of that coin, peer support, can be the answer.
Right.
Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely. And like I said, I use the word magic a lot, and I don't mean it. I don't take that word lightly. Even in my classroom, when I saw kids realizing they weren't alone and were experiencing the same challenges academically, then there was a lot of comfort in that. So when you see the eyes of children and the faces relax and get more comfortable as they're with their peer group here at the Grief Center, it's very comforting and very rewarding.
James, I have to ask you, as director of an airport, there's plenty of pressures, I'm sure, built into that, just by the nature of the job. So taking on a project like this, it's been a couple of years now, so I'm sure it's getting better. But what was it like that first time when you were first asked, "You want me to do what?"
Well, luckily, I was I had done similar events in other airports I've worked at. So I already had a good basis. I've had air shows on airports, so it's a similar process. It's just knowing where you can and can't go, and making sure that the crowds know the same. I think that's the trickiest part. Luckily, Chris and the folks are all on the pavement, but the Children's Grief Center, all the volunteers, they help out a lot. We have about 14 or 15 of them at key locations throughout the race event, just to keep everybody in line, and it makes our job a whole lot easier.
Just tell me, the average person knows nothing about navigating a runway, a taxiway. So yeah, I imagine you need a few advisors so nobody cuts and makes it a short path. Or
exactly.
Now the airport is actually still functional at this point.
It will still be functional. It's going to be interesting because the FAA, that's real important to them. If you're going to shut down a runway, the other one better be open for traffic. And with the fly-in component, we are working to, you're going to have potentially airplanes moving on both sides of the race course at times. And that's kind of really interesting. So the aircraft will land on one side and taxi around everybody to get to a parking location. So it's a unique challenge. I know we can do it. And it provides for a unique experience for the participants.
So Chris, for anybody who's racing, at the end of the day, to get their 5K time, if there's airplanes in the air, is it not an official record because it's wind aided? Or
you know what? They can take whatever advantage they want at our race. No worries. If they can pick up some speed because there's an airplane going by, more power to them.
I think I would have a little more speed. Just the thought of, I'm hearing an airplane. And it's amazing what adrenaline will do when you need to get somewhere in a hurry. Chris, let's go over the details again for anybody who wants to get in on this, because there's the 5K run, there's the 5K walk, and all the rest. Why don't we go ahead and go through the menu of those again?
All right, real quick. So this Saturday, May 17th, registration starts at 8. If you get a chance to register online, today's the last day for the $35 rate. Tomorrow it goes up to $45. We'll also take registrations on site Saturday morning starting at 8 a.m. On the like I mentioned, 5K is it's a run and a walk, and so the cost is the same for both of those. We'll send the runners off first, and then we'll have the walkers after that. There's a color run component, $20 a person, $60 for a family of 4. And if you want to just come and watch and support, like we were talking about before, a $10 spectator pass. But also really important too to understand, the pancake lunch and breakfast is also a $10 all you can eat ticket. And I know I'm throwing out a lot of prices and so on, but please remember, every dollar that we raise at this event goes toward the operations of our mission, which is serving those children and their families, and the teens and the families of those that are grieving a death in their life.
And all this information too, if somebody obviously can't scribble it all down, website available, correct?
Children's Grief, glbr.org. There's a button right in the top of that page, and you get to our link tree, which has several different links there as well. I do want to shout out real quick. We are up to 85 volunteers helping us out with this event today that have signed up. So big thanks to them. Big thanks to you, James, and also a big thanks to the Alpha Media family of radio stations for being our title sponsor as well.
I have to ask James too. I noticed Chris said, we send the runners out, then the walkers. Was this on the advice of your air traffic control guys? Because they know about avoiding collisions? Is this...
They do. In fact, we've had some of our air traffic controllers volunteer for the event. So,
oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, they're out there. They enjoy this just as much.
I'll bet. That's awesome. I think we're in pretty good shape. The information, of course, has been scrolling across the bottom of the screen, or you can always go to the website, as Chris mentioned. Chris, James, it's a pleasure. It's exciting. I love how the event grows every year. I think I'm probably better suited to throwing pancakes than I am running a decent 5K. There's plenty of reasons for everybody to come. So we absolutely extend that invitation to everybody in the area to come out, and you can run, you can walk, you can eat, you can just spectate if that's what you want. But either way, we're all about helping the kids at the Grief Center of the Great Lakes Bay region. So thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.